Everyone, it's Kami. Today it's going to be a special video. It's one in which we've been anticipating for quite a long time now. Now, this video is being primarily constructed for various reasons, one being because the severity of this case has been delegating across social media and the web. I'm not going to be saying too much about where it's, being descriptive analysis and just honestly analyzing these things to the inanimate degree, in which we all would love to hear more and just know more about these cases in particular. The cartel, it's a vastly underestimated organization. It's something in which we talk about, but not necessarily to its severity. And to the degree I'm referring to is that the litigious aspects of this really constructs a few things. Instances of murder, propaganda, conspiracies, etc. But today we're going to be evaluating, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it right, but the Zacateca Flaying, but haven't come forward with information. So I've done my extensive research and my evaluation, and I'm going to be presenting to you guys an extrapolated analysis to completely and utterly touch base on this and maybe provide some imagery, although viewers' discretion is advised. Formally advise you all to click off the video if you feel uncomfortable. I love my viewers so much. I do not want you guys to be disturbed by any of this content. So this will be a brief little warning before I expand and show any visual aspects of the video. This is in terms of being respectful and do my due diligence to not desensitize my viewers. The disturbing world of the cartel violence. A horrific video surfaced on June 2023, shaking even those who had witnessed gory content like Funky Town. If you guys know what Funky Town is, you know it's far worse than that. The chilling footage allegedly perpetrated by the CJNG showcased an alleged member of the Lalina, of an offshoot of the infamous Sinaloa cartel, enduring gruesome torture and execution. The video, lasting around 6 minutes and 13 seconds long, which is pretty long for a gore video, into the shocking details of this horrendous act and conduct, in which was absolutely unheard of, baffling, spine-chilling. And that's not even me describing it to its inanimate degree. Me specifying it as a bone-chilling video isn't descriptifying anything. It honestly is sort of breaching a sector of it, not the entirety of it. It's bad. Now, the entirety of the description really contextifies the origin of the video solely being around a skimming execution. So what has been enforced was a bunch of cartel members, of course, and the way they prosecuted this individual wasn't verbal, it was all physical. So they skimmed him down, right? Now just imagine you buying a chicken from a store with the feathers, right? So let's say you're buying it from a farm. You'd skin the chicken's outer part, right? It's external fur and all that feather shit, right? You'd skim it down until it's like bare skin, right? The pink stuff. Now just picture that, but a human face being skimmed slowly, excruciatingly, whilst the occupant is alive. the loss of blood, quite the content of blood was depleted, although this was a procedure done by a gruesome cartel, which is absolutely disgusting. Now, the scenarios proceed to carry out a brutal execution. The victim is forced into the dirt with his arms pulled back by the cartel members and on his back. One Sicario approaches the victim and makes a deep gash in the top of his head before beginning to flay the skin of his face. The victim appears to be drugged as he doesn't exhibit intense pain during the horrific act. The sadistic behavior aligns with cartel practices, which often involve drugging victims to minimize resistance during prolonged periods of suffering. So what they would use would be more so of a anesthetic drug to sort of alleviate any emotions towards conducting certain acts on the victim. So they would minimize that feeling by drugging them and utilizing any of the following outcomes in which would sort of shock their victim in death. So they would want to they would primarily want the victim to feel the pain and not just die in terms of shock, because if they weren't to drug the individual, they would just utterly die from the shock, right? But these cartel members are so sick in the head that they drug them so it slows down their mind process, because psychedelics are predominantly known to slow down the mind and slow down emotional, right, and characteristics, right, to sort of neutralize the thought process. So it allows the victim to stay alive and feel every single cut, every single gash, every single feeling, right, is felt throughout the whole procedure. And that's exactly what they want. With blindfolding the victim, bound on his knees in front of the armed operatives known as Sicarios from the CDN, the cartel of the Norst cartel. The victim's shirt bore the name Lalina, which was a cartel organization in which he was a part of, signifying his alleged affiliation. A Sicario reads a chilling statement warning other cartels and glorifying their own acts of violence. This manipulative tactic is used to instigate rival cartel members into seeking similar fates, thus perpetrating the cycle of violence and vengeance, which is honestly sort of a partial sector of emotional blackmail. They basically use individuals to sort of emotionally attack other cartels, which is just a regular procedure done across all cartels. This one, the Sicarios and the Lalinas are at the highest severities in terms of affiliation and cartel groups. So moving forward, the high quality footage provides versatile details, making it difficult to witness even for those accustomed to gruesome content, in which I've extrapolated various times. I've stipulated that this content is far worse than Funky Town. If you viewers have watched Funky Town, then you would sort of compare the both and sort of put them together, and you would sort of breach between which one would be, I guess, more gruesome. And it's pretty evident on differentiating both of these. This one is far worse than Funky Town, I say myself. So yeah. So the flaying, right, the facial flaying is a rare and particularly gruesome form of violence, elevating this act to a level of terror unmatched by many other cartel atrocities. Comparing this video to this infamous Funky Town is inevitable. And while some argue that the letter's prolonged suffering makes it worse, the high definition clarity and visceral details in the videos contribute to its immense shock value. Witnessing the brutal facial flaying and the victim's involuntary movements intensifies the horror. For some, this even surpasses the notoriety of Funky Town to me. And the warning is sort of responsible for a content creator like myself. You know, it's important to emphasize that seeking out such graphic content is unnecessary and harmful. So this video, although widely accessible, should not be sought out or shared further. It is vital to prioritize mental well-being and avoid subjecting oneself to traumatic experiences that can have long-lasting effects, both mentally and psychologically, right? It could have a toll on your mental health. So I advise you all not to go out of your way and watch it. Do it at your own risk, right? I don't control you all. My words could only, take part in, giving you that thought process, just to aid your mind. Don't go out of your way and watch it, honestly, because it's sickening. And why would you want to watch that in the first place? To conclude, this horrifying cartel atrocity depicted in this video serves as a stark reminder of the brutality and severity and gruesome content that can be circulating across the world, in which that is constantly persistent in certain corners of the third world, cartel organizations and other organizations generally, right, across the world. So honestly, just touching base on the content on this case was severe, and I just wanted to touch base on it. This was honestly one of those eye-openers, and just shows to prove how gruesome cartel members are. Like, they would go out their way to do anything. So honestly, it's best to not watch that. I don't recommend it. You could watch it at your own risk. It's available pretty much, I don't know, on any gore site. Just search it up. Yeah, so I will leave a little description in this video, and yeah.